And I suppose,
tech,
yeah,
there's definitely some sectors where, I think they are almost at the point where they've developed, this is what our model's going to look like going forward, and we're just going to we're going now. We've reached the point.
Yeah. Does that feed into the theory of, I know, putting a letter to a recovery is a bit simplistic, but that K-shaped recovery that people mention, where some sectors are really going to struggle hard, like you mentioned, hospitality, whereas others have types of business and types of and structures that are better suited to our new reality, such as tech. So there's almost creates a kind of divergence in performance in these sectors.
I think so.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how much of the sort of upward bit of the K is up as opposed to slightly. So I'm not sure it's definitely a K, but there are definitely, and we're seeing that in terms of some of the deals activity. We're seeing some sectors are just really hot at the minute, and contrary to what you would expect, generating some real premiums around the market, sales and things. So IT, tech, health, definitely healthcare.
Yeah.
There are definitely sectors where, contrary to everything else that's going on, it's really quite odd what's happening in the sort of deals market. And then on the other extreme, some sectors where, just aren't even being looked at. Unless there's a really good deal to be had.
Yeah. And just before we finish there, I just wanted to touch back on, we talked about the resilience of professionals themselves, especially new people entering work. Is there any, I know at KPMG you have a lot of kind of outreach programs that involve younger people, like shadow boards and reverse mentoring. What advice would you give personally to someone who's joined the workforce at such a moment? Look, I know that there's no substitute for experience, but what has experience allowed you to share with them?
I think what I encourage all the teams to do is to spend as much time as they can reading about things. So curiosity, definitely, in terms of understanding the world around them and the sort of economy we're working in. So really trying to, invest some time and be curious about finding out more, and be curious about finding out about some of the trends that are happening around us.
Yeah.
And encourage them to always ask questions, and when they are working with people, why are we doing this, or why would this client be focused on this part of the market? What is it they're hoping to do? So I think always asking questions is really important, and being curious and learning. I genuinely think that probably what this has done is made people realise that they really, they really do need to be focused on constantly learning and developing new skills.
Yeah, and I think that feeds back into what you were saying in terms of the power of the office, is that I suppose at the office you're naturally taking in a lot of information, but you've got to almost replace that now with being proactive in terms of sourcing new information.
You've got to work a lot harder at it.
Yes, yeah. And then one last thing I wanted to ask you, is there anything in the last month, any articles that you've read, or any kind of bits of news that have kind of piqued your interest and made you do a bit more research, or something that's been, a fascinating read, just something along those lines?
I'm trying to think off the top of my head. There's definitely been a few things. I think, because I normally file things, but I don't have my iPad here, it's upstairs. What I'll do is I'll have a look.
Okay.
What I often do is, if there's like LinkedIn articles or things like that I've read, and then sort of try to find out a bit more about, I put them into a folder on my iPad.
That'd be great if you could.
And I can drop you a note.
Fantastic. And then just to close, is there anything